What is cultural diversity? Cultural diversity is the quality of diverse or different culture. Why we have to study about culture diversity? Because in one country we accept culture, language, religion, and art from many countries. And in a country we have many group of people who have different culture or different religion that affect their life daily different in their activities. Therefore, we have to study and learn about culture diversity to accept and respect diversity in social and learn how to live with each other with peace and happiness. Philippines, land of beautiful islands and appreciated culture. Manila is the capital of the country, and Philippines is one of members of ASEAN. Philippines, or officially the Republic of the Philippines, is a country in Southeast Asia situated in the Western Pacific Ocean. It consists of about 7,641 islands which have different cultures such as religion, food, education, and communication. The area is divided into islands including foreign trade. The Philippines is a focal point for people of different nationality and culture. Philippines was governed by Spain for more than 300 years and Americans took over Philippines from Spain for the next 50 years. Therefore, Philippines is one of the nations most influenced by West culture. This is a combination of West and East culture.
Communications means sending information from one person to one or more people in order to understand the meaning of the information sent by the sender and create a good understanding between each other. Communication in Philippines. It is very interesting because the Philippines landscape is archipelago and culturally derived from many countries, which makes it has many culture diversity and languages to communications. Philippines was an American colony for around 50 years. That is make increasing English usage and reduce the role of the local language. Due to the complexity of its history and ethnicity, make the Philippines has colloquialism more than 100 languages, and most of them with Malay roots, and most commonly used language are English, Tagalog, Cebuano, Ilonggo, Wareware, Ilocano, Pampanga, Visayas, and Bicol. The communication in private life of the Philippines are different of each island. That can be categorized into three main parts according by the three regions, which are Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. The most used language in Luzon is Tagalog, and the most used language in Visayas and Mindanao is Visayas and Tagalog. Due to the past United States of America rule makes English became the common language of communications between regions and islands. That makes Filipinos use English language in their work and media rather than their national language like Tagalog or Filipino. That makes English language skill indispensable part of working in the Philippines.
Nowadays, Philippines' education system has changed and improved its curriculum according to the era for a long time. Since the original education of country that was started, there was no systematic teaching and learning. Although nowadays both countries did not play a role in the education system of the Philippines, but the education policy of Spain and the United States is its heritage that remains in the Philippines today. At the time of Spain, one of the most significant changes in the educational system of the time was the Catholic education system played a large role in the development of education system in the form of educational degree, which emphasize the systematic education of country. There are standard courses. United States used Americanization to transform and improve the educational model in the Philippines. Future encouraging the use of English in all courses of study And during this period, the cultural diversity has grown even more until now. There are two educational systems in the Philippines, both formal and informal. Formal education starts 10 years old, meaning the Philippines is only take 4 years to complete a high school level. The education system in the Philippines is like the formal education system of the United States. And another form of education is informal education, which includes the acquisition of knowledge outside the school, focus on specific groups such as youth or adults who are unable to attend university, teaching and learning to the illiterate inability various defects. The teaching of inclusive education in Philippines focus on the education of whole person, with physical limitations such as disability or difference in other areas, race, language, religion, gender, and poverty. The Philippine multicultural education system forms the environment and educational opportunity rather than the lack of educational resources. This refers to the cultural differences in education received in each area of Filipino people. It also includes the entire of various people. They also accept a formal education system from the educational superpowers that create multiculturalism, which affect both educational and multiculturalism. Prison education should be equal whether in the city or outside the city, as individual. In terms of education, idea and attitude that coexist are all. But cultural diversity for education, it should be a matter of opportunity and cost, where differences are inevitable. Cultural difference and inequality still exist. So this article may be help explain knowledge of cultural diversity in education for the best benefits.
Education system in the Philippines is that we take a long while before we graduate. First, we have around 6 years for our elementary, and we need to reach the age of 12, and then we are going to have our high school, and then have our 6 years of education again until we reach the college, and then after that one, we will be needing to take for around 1 to 7 years before we graduate into a course, and it depends on the course how much time frame they need for us to graduate. And then aside from that, with our education system here, I think in college we have a lot of minor subjects that we need to continue as a mandatory, that actually even if it is not related with our course, we need to study that one since it is mandatory.
Next is the religions in the Philippines. The Philippines is the country that has so many tribes that live in each island. The total population in the Philippines around 100 million people approximately. Besides, more people in the Philippines are the Christian, is the 92% of the population in the Philippines, separate to the Roman Catholic for the 81% and the Protestant is the 11%. Most Christians are live in the north of the Philippines and the another regions. The Christianity is influenced from the Spanish and the American. When the colonial periods in long time ago, for the holiday in the Philippines influenced from the Christianity such as the Christmas Day, Valentine's Days. In addition, in south of the Philippines, most people worship in the Islam for the 5% of the population in the Philippines. Many Muslim influences from the Malaysians and the Indonesians. The Muslims will stick with their doctrine. From that, its effects through many intensity problems in the south of Philippines. According to the tribal in the Philippines, they have their own belief and their own religions. It depends on their area and their local. The Ingrus is the one of the main tribal in the Philippines. They adhere the goddess and the local spirit. Some ceremonies are different from the another religions. Example, the Carnos is the festival that held to Thanksgiving by butchering the pig, chicken, and cow to sacrifice to their god.
The Philippines has people of different nationality. The area of the Philippines is divided into islands, including foreign trade. The Philippines was influenced by food from 13 countries. Therefore, Filipino food had a different taste. Food influence and cooking methods from Spain, such as mechado, longaniza, food fried with garlic and a mixture of onion and tomato. The entry into the dominance of Spain both in plants from the Americas such as pepper, tomato, corn, and potatoes. The trade with China had led to more condiment in Filipino food such as soy sauce, tofu, beef sport, and fish sauce. These foods still use traditional Hokkien names such as pancit and lumpia. Influenced by Indian and Arabian foods, these foods are found mostly in the south of the present Philippines such as puto and biryani. Topography and ethnic diversity. Rice will be the staple food of all groups of people, but the food menu will differ depending on the ingredients and environment of each area. In North Luzon, there are areas adjacent to the coast, sea and mountains. It is the home of the Ilocano, Pangasinan people, and many other ethnic groups. It is popular to eat food from local ingredients, such as stir-fried flag with flag influenced by Arab country. In the central plains of Luzon is home to Manila, an important rice cultivation site. There will be Tagalog and Pampanga people. It is the last ethnic group in the area. It is popular to consume Western influenced foods such as sausage and stuffed meat roll. In the South Tagalog area, it is an area of rice, coconut and fruit cultivation. It is commonly consumed food in the area including freshwater fish, sour food from vinegar, sour food snack made from rice and coconut. In the Visayana area is an area rich in fresh and dry seafood. Most of population is Christian, popular with fish consumption. For example, boiled fish in vinegar called Piyanaman and Kinirao, which is sold with vinegar, onion, tomato, and raw mango. The ingredients are sourced from Spain. We went to eat Filipino food at New Babu High restaurants by choose menu are adobo, kinirao, lechon, and sisig. Which adobo is a popular food Filipino and is the nationality food of ASEAN. Kinirao, lechon, and sisig are popular food Filipino of which four menu are Filipino food, but there will be cooking method and ingredient influenced by the West such as Spain. It is applied to Filipino cuisine, making the Filipino food more diverse, taste and delicious.
Cultural diversity is the beautiful, diverse culture of humanity. If we respect and learn about the feelings of others, we can stay in social with understanding, happiness, and peaceful like in Philippine country. That they can live together even they have many culture and language or different religions, but they respect and accept diverse of others. Such as food, due to they have many islands and contact with many countries. Therefore, they could have variety, popular and local food. For communication, they have many local language and official language are Filipino and English. They use hard contact culture to communicate with each other to avoid to speak directly and make others look bad. For education in Philippines, there are two systems, are formal and informal. They were governed by America and Spain. Therefore, Philippines quite has good education, but they were lost their own poem and local writing because they were forced to study America and Spanish poem and writing works. And for religion, they have many religion is creed and many local believe in their own local area such as shaman. Because of inclement weather, therefore they have belief in shaman and something similar.